Welcome back to Plain Truth. I'd like to talk to you about the road of hope, about this political prisoner over in Vietnam, this Cardinal Francis Xavier Nguyen Van Thuan. He was a political prisoner for the communists for 13 years in jail, and he was in solitary confinement for 9 years. You wonder why how a person could stay and not be driven insane by something like that. Maybe that's what they wanted to do. Sometimes the light would be on in this little box that he was living in all the time. Sometimes there would be no light. And how can you possibly survive in a situation like that? They wouldn't give him his food. Sometimes they'd give him his food, and then he'd have to sit in there, and then they would not let him go out to relieve himself. So he had a big mess in his little prison cell. And then they'd come in, sometimes a female, with a great big hose, and they'd wash him down, and you have to take all the clothes off and everything, which was totally embarrassing. And he finally said, "Thank you for helping." He's apologizing for being, in this kind of a mess and things like that, because he was being berated by the communist lady prisoner keeper, and he finally decided just to be, to return everything, turn the other cheek. That would be an awful hard thing to do. He knew that this was going to happen to him. He told the Carthusian nuns that were in Vietnam that in about 3 years things are going to get real bad. So if they wanted, if they wanted to move back to wherever they came from, rather than stay there and be persecuted, he said, bishops will go to jail. Bishops will go to jail and suffer. And he did suffer. And while he was in prison, somehow or other, he told the people that he needed his medicine for his stomach. Well, his people outside knew what he meant. He didn't have any problem with his stomach. What he did have was a wish to have the Mass. So they would bring him a little bottle, and they put down wine in the bottle, and it said on the bottle, "Medicine for your stomach." And he would take 3 drops of wine and put it into the palm of his hand, and 1 drop of water, and he would say Mass. They would also smuggle in some host for the Mass in the bottom of a battery, a flashlight rather, and it was very touching how they would allow this thing to happen. So at least even in the depths of, it was hell on earth, he was having Mass and allowing the sacrament of the Mass to be going on, the Eucharist. And he was an inspiration to his people. And also he had a way of writing on the back of a calendar. There's a blank on the back of the calendar. He'd write down his thoughts. And it became the basis for a book called The Road of Hope. And after all this terrible ordeal, he did come out and was given the opportunity of staying there and being persecuted some more, or being sent into exile. And he went into exile, and he talked to the Vietnamese community across the country, as you will see if you can ever get this DVD. And eventually died of cancer, and he was courageous all the way up to the end. So I don't know how somebody can be so courageous and so cheerful all the time, and he certainly was. He was a great example, and the communists wanted him out because he was too cheerful, too kind, and too much of a good example. He would convert prisoners, convert guards, he'd convert officials. Everybody was being converted, and they just didn't want him around because he was too good of a person. And it'd be nice to have more of these saints walking around on earth today. Thank you very much for watching, and please watch this DVD, Road of Hope, by Ignatius Press. Thank you very much.